Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our continuous webinar sessions where we introduce our Skyresponse ecosystem partners. Today, joined by Dosell and Zembro, powered by SafeTrack. Before I will leave over to Helena and Oin, we would like to just give you a short introduction to the Skyresponse ecosystem program. So, the ecosystem program for our partners and customers using Skyresponse is basically a way to continuously follow the market trends and develop the solutions for the market by adding new technologies via an ecosystem partner integration program. We have more than 90 integrations today, and these are any type of ready-to-use device, product solution, system, platforms, and so on. So some of those examples are alarm monitoring, digital supervision, medication robots, GPSs, and so on. And we continuously develop this program, adding new technology that will develop the services you can offer for your service users and so on. And we are constantly looking to have more devices integrated to our platform. That's a part of our strategy. If you want to know more information around that, please feel free to reach out to us at Skyresponse, and you will also be able to find a lot more on our website, skyresponse.com. Enough said from me. This is not about me. Like I said, we have Dosell and Zembro here today, and we will start by inviting Helena to present the Dosell solution.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm just going to start sharing my screen so that you will see. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Good, perfect. So hi everyone, my name is Helena Kolvik and I work as the business unit manager for Dosell. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it, but first I would like to just show you a short film, like 1.5 minutes of what the Dosell actually is and how the our medicine dispenser is actually working, and then I will come down to some benefits with it and the integration that we have together with Skyresponse. So I'll kick this off.
Dosell is a digital drug dispenser for safer medication at home. Dosell is loaded with the patient's prescribed medicines packed in a bag. One charge contains medication for 2 weeks' use. When it's time for the patient to take her medicine, Dosell delivers the right amount of medicine at the right time by reading the day and time marked on the bag. When the patient is to take her medicine, the bag is cut off and falls into a compartment in the front of the Dosell machine. When the bag is in the compartment, the light and the sound alarm is activated. That reminds the patient or caregiver that it's time to take the medicine. If the patient does not take her medicine, Dosell alerts healthcare professionals and relatives who can quickly act to prevent injury. Dosell reduces the risk for the patient to take too much, too little, or wrong kind of medicine, or forget to take the medicine at all. Dosell increases safety for patients and relatives, while health caregivers and home care staff can save their valuable time. Dosell is simply safe support for you as a patient or relative and a valuable tool for caregivers.
Yes. So that gives you an even more insight in what the product is actually doing. What we have been doing with Dosell is that we want it to be as user-friendly and easy as possible. So what we have been doing is that we have also launched the first Dosell also to the B2C market here in Sweden. And that is to make sure that the user themselves, I mean, we as a in the B2C market, we want it to be user-friendly. We want everything to be put to us and be as most easy as possible. So we have learned a lot from that customer journey to make it super user-friendly. So when the Dosell is preparing and giving the right medication at the right time, it also making sure that we have this implicit in it, we will make sure that it sends the alarm to the caretaker that you also saw in the movie as well. So what we are doing with the Dosell, that you have an application that you load Dosell through Bluetooth. And this application is also from the Skyresponse integration. So when you're into the application and you have the user-friendly system, I mean, you have videos on all 5. So all 5 worth mentioning is very few. To get into the system is that you will have all the safety for the patient. You will have all the information in there, and you will also make sure that you can get all the alarm chains, that you know that the right person is getting the alarms, that the right person is, I know that others have been taking care of the alarm for the user, etc. But Dosell itself is also built to be as safety for the patient as possible. I mean, we want people to stay at home longer. We want the patients to be healthier from the medication. We know that if you don't get the right information saying that maybe you have like a pill box, you don't know if the user are taking the medicine, you don't know if they're taking double or if they're taking it not at all or in the incorrect time, etc. So this is something that we proactively work with to follow that data to make sure that the people are taking the right medication at the right time. We can also see that Dosell is reading exact information on the pouch. That is, okay, if it's the 3rd of July at 13 o'clock, like 1 o'clock, then the medicine is going to come out. And you can also put a very important window for this specific user, because we know that it's not one size fits all. So what we are working with, super importantly, is that we might have a patient with Parkinson's syndrome. Okay, but then if they are supposed to take the medication at 1 o'clock, then they have like a very small gap when it's supposed to alarm the home care service, etc. And maybe you can have like 10 minutes and then the alarm goes to the home care and they can follow up through a phone call. They can follow up through a text. And if the user won't answer that call, maybe the first or second time, then we know that it's important might to go there. I mean, something could have happened. So this is also to make sure that we can monitor the medication safely. And as mentioned, we are fully integrated to Skyresponse. We're using that sort of application. And if I mean, Dosell is an MDR class 1 product, so we really need to make sure that we are working according to the regulations we have for that. That is also one big beneficial working with Skyresponse and have those sorts of integrations. So that was very short and quickly. And just to give you a little brief on the benefits as well. These are numbers for one small municipality in Sweden, where we made sure to make them a calculation of, okay, if you are now placing out 20 Dosells in your municipality, what can you actually gain from that? And when we're talking about the users, we're talking about the patient safety. But when we're coming down to the municipalities and the regions, then we need to make sure that they would, I mean, what's the impact for us? How much money can we gain from this? Because unfortunately, that's what they are looking at. So this is just to give you some examples of, it's not the, I mean, you're doing an investment to place out medicine dispensers in the beginning, but you can quite soon get revenues from that based on that you can save a lot of the visits, of course. Since you're loading the machine for 2 weeks, then you of course need to be there someday if that's regulatory based on the user. But I mean, you could be there every second week when you load the Dosell, meaning that you're saving a lot of fuels and miles and these are Swedish miles. And also, of course, the potential effect on the different yearly bonuses. So this is just a draft that you can see the beneficials for that. And yeah, this is just a quote from one of our elderly, super happy users. So yeah, I mean, I won't take that much more time since we're having a short agenda today. Do we have any questions, Anna or Anders?
No questions so far, and I think we can collect them to the end to make sure that we also bring in Owen so he has the ability to present. Thank you very much, Helena. Obviously, we will provide information for contact for those who you would like to know more and get in touch with Dosell. Then we're handing over to Owen.
Thank you very much, Anders, and thank you, Helena. That was very interesting. Yeah, my name is Owen Licken. I am a product manager, but also business development manager. I kind of wear two hats for Belgian company Zembro. Let me share my screen while I talk. And just give me 1 second while I work out which screen. I have two screens in front of me. Trying to find the option where it's going to let me share an entire screen. Yes, I see it. So you should all be seeing that any second now. Zembro is a Belgian company, but we're using Irish technology from SafeTracks. SafeTracks is a product developed in Ireland and used primarily originally for maritime rescue, but for live alerting, it is used by coast guards all around the world and is trusted and actively used to save lives at sea. We have developed it into a mobile alerting platform, primarily for elder alerting, elder alerting products. And we also have some special cases where people are using it for instance, troubled adults or troubled teenagers, etc. So it's a general mobile track and trace alerting solution. I use the word mobile, but the word digital is obviously key. What I'm going to present to you, I'll show a few slides and then I'll do a quick product demo. But basically, what I'm going to present is a major step into the world of digital alerting and a digital ecosystem, all of which is integrated into the Skyresponse platform. And the key point here is that with a rich, highly scalable, trusted digital environment, we can offer, and therefore you can receive via your existing platform, a much richer world of alerting, which is also very secure and very flexible and can grow with you. They'll be my key messages. I'm not going to go through all the slides here because I have too many, as always. But you know, we will share this later. Who is Zembro? We're a Belgian company since 2018, relaunched in 2022 with the SafeTracks range of products. I mentioned SafeTracks is trusted by this range of coast guards and lifeboat associations around the world. Multiple integrations, multiple partners. Most of our business is Central Europe, Central Western Europe, Germany, Benelux, France, Italy, Spain, the Nordics, and we're ironically, despite having all our Irish technology and my own background being Irish, we have done very little business in UK and Ireland, and that's one of our target areas to attack. We have multiple wearable solutions. The three mobile ones I've presented here. The Essentials Comfort, which is this wristwatch that I'm wearing now. The what we call Wonder Alert, which is based on an M safety wearable from Sony, which is a very revolutionary product that it has LTE-M network, which is works very well in building, very wide coverage. It's 4G, 5G compatible. That is an incredibly robust wristwatch. You can throw any chemicals, any environment at it. It's just bulletproof. It was designed for this environment. And the Essentials Mini, which is a pendant, which is essentially the same as the Essentials Comfort, but it's in a pendant format. Those two products, the Essentials, have really, really high quality voice. They use 4G SIMs. They have very high quality microphone, very high quality voice, and excellent battery life. The Wonder Alert has no voice, but its primary application is for dementia sufferers, people for whom an ARC, an alarm response center, talking to a wearer is of limited value. It's really about high quality tracking. And all of our products, all of our tracking feature constant updates. Those updates are also integrated into the Skyresponse server. So if somebody alerts, and there's multiple ways of alerting, I'll show you some now, the alert is also updated per minute. And the whole idea is to find somebody quickly, which is where our experience of finding people at sea comes in. I won't go through all of these, but just some of the ideas here that we're in a digital environment. We have like beacons, we have multiple environments, multiple connectivity. In fact, in this case, the wearable itself is a hub. And the reason I just wanted to mention that is because no installation necessary. Many of you will come from the world where a new customer required a visit to install boxes attached to phone lines. Those days are dying. This is all mobile-based. They all have SIM cards. The customers, the devices are set up remotely. The users are set up remotely. They can be configured remotely. They can be reset. They can be paused, etc. No visits are necessary. I'll just jump quickly through just to show you the advantages of a data-rich environment, but I'll show you these with demos that you have, safety zones, danger zones, notifications on screen, indoor, outdoor tracking. And the beauty of it all then is that you can add many more devices. These are devices we've added from past projects, weighing scales, blood pressure monitors, a fall detector from Swedish company Infonomy. We've beacons for indoor tracking attached to these devices. Then we can also add indoor monitors, smart home devices for humidity, temperature sensor, room presence, etc. And this can all feed into the same user. And more interestingly, this can all generate alerts. For instance, the next slide here shows the Amazon Alexa, which I have here behind me. And in fact, I hate doing live demos because they always fail when you're live. And I'm going to try this. Alexa, tell Safe Tracks I feel 2 today.
Sorry, I didn't understand that. Can you repeat that, please?
As I said, it doesn't like my voice. Alexa, tell Safe Tracks I feel 2 today.
Oh no, sorry to hear that. We'll record your score of 2, but would you like us to let someone know?
Yes.
Okay, don't worry. Safe Tracks has logged your message. Please remember that Safe Tracks is not an emergency service and, if possible, you should contact the emergency services for urgent assistance.
So what's going to happen there is, just if I show you here, this level of 2 has been recorded for this particular user. And in fact, what's happening now is I'm getting a call on my phone from Zembro Alert, which is effectively the alerting procedure for that user. And it tells me that this user has alerted, and I get an email and an SMS, and I can track where the user is, what the issue is, etc. And that's just a simple example of why having a digital environment gives you so much more choice. While I'm on this user, I just wanted to share these screens with you. If I look at this user, I went, for instance, for a walk this morning with this watch, which is connected to the same user as my Alexa device, which I'm going to pause now so it doesn't keep talking to me. In that walk, for instance, I generated an alert. It called my mobile phone, or calls any emergency contact. It also, in parallel, alerted the ARC, which can call the user back, and it sends a digital alert via mobile data, 4G data, and per minute updates. And you can see here, this was the trace of my walk this morning while it was alerting in the first 10 minutes while I had the alert active. And all of this data goes through to the Skyresponse platform, and the operators can click on any data point. They can see your speed, the accuracy at the time, the battery level, and so that even should the worst happen and somebody loses data while alerting, you can see what direction when they were last heading. But the battery lasts 2 days in these devices, so that's not usually an issue. There's a lot of extra data here, very rich. This environment is set up to be maximum richness because I use it for customer demos. But you see here, we've steps, we've heart rate. In fact, I can go into home life here and I can see where all my sensors are connected. I have motion sensors, temperature, humidity, etc., as I mentioned. So you can also monitor the room activity. You can see, you can match it to indoor heat maps, etc., and you can see a person's activity. I can also collect heart data. For instance, we have use cases where mobile district health nurses are going around with, say, blood pressure cuffs or weighing scales, and the data gets entered here. You can see I've been tracking heart rate here. This is just today's data. I did a couple of blood pressure measurements this morning and entered them in, and you can see that they show up. So it is a very rich environment. The other thing I'll show you, jumping over to this other window, is this is the Wander Alert product based on the Sony M Safety. I was wearing it on the other wrist for the same walk I did this morning. So it's a different user. It generates data going into the same platform. What you see here is an automatic alert based on the fact that I left a safety zone. So this is my home office here. I've drawn a safety zone around it. Once it's 2 minutes outside the safety zone, it automatically alerts. And then it triggers a data point every minute while I walked around this 3-kilometer circuit or so. And that is also updated to all the emergency contacts, the alarm response center. And in those updates, there's a link, and in all the emails. And what I'm showing you here now is a couple of screen grabs from my mobile phone this morning while I was on that walk. So the SMS that arrived in to tell me that there had been an alert for this user contains a link. The link is clickable. There's no password necessary for this, but we have security and GDPR compliance built in by making it time limited. And then I just screenshotted a couple of these screenshots to show you. So you see here, I have a simple telephone-based representation of the alert, who it is, what time, the latest position on a map. I have a number of tabs where I could call the person. I can look at the history. I can look at their data, for instance. I can go full screen in this. And then, sorry, my mouse has slowed down terribly here. Here we go. And I can activate a feature which we call Searchlight, which I just make the map full screen and I say, use my phone as a device to find that user. And the user is the red is the original position of the alert. The blue arrow, the blue dot with the arrow on it is the person moving, and the darker blue dot is the mobile phone. And obviously I was very close to myself, so it's not a long distance, but with the permanent updates, I can make a little bit of distance. And you can see here, I'm using the compass in the phone to find the person, what direction they're at from me. So they're 97 meters away from me in the north-northeast direction. I'm effectively using my phone as a finding device, and that works very well. And that's all based on receiving, very simply, you see here, an SMS with a link. And that comes out to every contact or to the alarm response center. And so the application here, you can quite easily imagine, is that if there's an alert and you need to send somebody quickly to find the person, particularly if it's a dementia sufferer who's wandering, you can call a relative, send them that link. You can call emergency services, send them that link. Anybody can use that link. But data security is key. We also time limit the effectiveness of that link, as I mentioned. Okay, I've gone really fast and I've jumped into a lot of functionality, so I'm gonna stop there. But just to give you a flavor of what you can do when you have a very modern alerting environment with a rich platform which takes multiple users, multiple products into account, and is all, as I mentioned at the start, integrated into the Skyresponse platform. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Juan. And also to Helena, we have a couple of questions. I'm thinking we didn't write in since we're getting closer to the time limit. So I have one for you, Helena, to start with, and that is regarding packages of medication and filling the dispenser in a community, for example. Who can handle it and why and what and so on?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when it comes to like the sachets or the packed rolls, I mean, that is something that we do not have any sort of impact from. I mean, the user themselves are getting, their doctor is just prescribing their medication in sachet rolls. And then when it comes to picking them up, it's normally the home care staff or the relatives. And when it comes to, I mean, since we have different sorts of solutions, we have the B2C version that we call, and that is normally when the relatives are helping the user to, and also getting the alarms like, okay, but now Anders have not been taking the medication, let's follow that up. But I mean, 99% of our, the main product that we have is the B2B solution, and that is for the municipalities and the home cares, elderly care, etc. And they are then, if they are collecting the Dosells, then they are the one charging the Dosell. But worth mentioning is that when it comes to the Skyresponse solution, I mean, you need to have the sorts of access to the Dosell. So not every person can get there, try to load with medication, or they can try to open and take out some medication. So if you are like a valid administrator that puts in the system saying that, yes, Anders, you can go to this Dosell, you can chart this one, but maybe you don't have access to this one. So that is something that we're putting up in the different sorts of chains to make sure that the right person is the right one that loads the Dosell. So again, not everyone having access to it. And when it comes to the pharmacies, I mean, I can't say all, but lots of pharmacies today are using a dose packing machine. So if that sort of pharmacy are using a dose packing machine, then we can make sure that they can use Dosell. I hope that was the answer to the question.
Yep. And some for you, Owen, just out of curiosity around you touched a little bit about it on GDPR and so on, but if you look on the data encryption and data privacy, could you explain a little bit more on how you work with that on your units?
Yes, it's a question that has frequently cropped up for us as we move into this digital world, because the society for various reasons have got it into its head that cloud-based solutions are inherently insecure, where in fact what we find is that a lot of our customers have on-premises solutions. I'm sure you see the same in Skyresponse, and we've always argued to them, well, look, people talk about, I don't trust cloud. Well, who do you trust more, your IT manager or the world of Amazon and Google, who are, when we're all open to the same hacking attempts? People then say, yes, but what about data security? And it's a huge issue. Data security, data should be encrypted end to end. In our case, it is. Devices should not be sending their data, ideally outside of Europe, and certainly not to the device manufacturers, if you don't know who that manufacturer is or where the data, what is being used with the data. In our case, what we can pledge to all our customers is that the data remains in a very tight loop between your device, us, and the Skyresponse server, and is encrypted end to end. And we do not, without customer permission, we do not even have access to that data. We have to ask customers if we want to access data, for instance, for diagnosing problems, etc., connectivity issues. We have to ask the customer permission, your customers being our customers. And we feel that's very important. This is not about data collection and having data on thousands of users and then being able to sell that data. Quite far from it. The customers, the alarm response centers, they own the customers, they own the data, but that data must be encrypted end to end, and you must be able to account for where that data goes. Another interesting thing, as I showed in the demo, collecting steps, collecting heart rate, purely for demo purposes. In reality, when we implement solutions for large 24/7 ARCs, we switch that off by default. And the reason we switch it off is because without explicitly needing heart rate data, it's personal medical data. Under GDPR, you don't have the right to have it, nor should you have. So good practices are really important in GDPR. We're GDPR, and for US customers, HIPAA compliant. This is drilled into our DNA from the start, but it's a message we give to the market and our customers again and again. Take your customers' data seriously, because trust is really important in this market.
Thank you very much. And regarding security, a little bit back to you, Helena. So you talked a little bit about the application and the connectivity to Dosell. So how do you really ensure the safety around that for a character, for example? I know you mentioned a little bit about access and permission and so on, but could you explain a little bit more around that?
I touched a little bit about it when it comes to the We Are MDR Class 1 medicine device. So it's super important that we follow those sort of regulation. And that is also when it comes to, you talked a little bit about the data and everything. That is also something that we, of course, currently working with. We don't see any data, as you mentioned, Owen. We can see different sorts of devices, but we don't know which one is connected to who, because we don't own any sort of data. We don't have any need for data. It's the municipality or the home care getting the access. And those, in the other hand, are making sure that they have all the regulations ready to make sure that they can get all the users in the system. But again, we're just seeing serial numbers, so we don't know who is who. And also when it comes to like all the IT demands, and we recently won a very big procurement in Sweden with 47 municipalities. And I think it was like 160 different sorts of IT demands. Like, do you follow this sort of access? How do you work with encrypted data? how do you work with that? So we, of course, together with you, Anders, actually, so we won that together with Skyresponse. So we needed to make sure that we follow all those sort of regulations. So we are not getting into details, but yes, we are doing everything that we can as a medical device delivery.
Yeah, thank you. And also just to add on our end, of course, I mean, the Skyresponse platform and all the information security standards we need to follow are in place, ISO 27001, GDPR, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's very much in a joint partnership because we also have that sort of demand from our integrated partner that we want things to be encrypted. They need to be encrypted and so
Yeah.
on. So I think that's a joint effort, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was all the questions I had. So I think we will say thank you for everyone who participated. Again, you will be communicated with some information afterwards. You are able to reach out and contact us with further questions and so on. And thank you very much, Oin and Helena, for presenting really amazing products. And we're looking forward for the next session we will have after summers. Thank you and take care.
Thank you
Thank
very
you so much. Have a good day.
much. Bye-bye.
Bye.